What's up, everybody? So today's video, we're going to be going through something which I strongly believe to be the unsung heroes of Hell Let Loose, and it's the logistical side of the game. We all know about the weapons and the guns and the running around and all the vantage points and getting on the roofs and stuff. But with the influx of new players, I feel like that the logistics side is taking a massive hit, and it's not being used to the point where games are enjoyable, strategic, and just overall being played out like the game has intended. So we're going to go for a string of videos that will kind of cover it, hopefully kind of educate you guys for those who don't know, or remind you guys for those who already did, just on the importance of the role that all of these serve. So we're just going to go and take a look at the supplies and the 3 ways that we can get supplies in the game. Very easy, very accessible, as long as we can communicate and know what we want and what we're asking for and what we're looking for. Supplies can be gained very easily throughout the entire game. There are 3 ways to get supplies in a game, and we're going to go from right to left as you see on the screen. The first one is super simple. This little diddly box here, you would have seen it and you would have run past countless of them on many objectives around the game during your hours of the game. This is normally dropped by the support role. Now, the support player, every single one of the 3 roles that a support player can take, being the bog standard, the ammo carrier, or the flamer role, can drop a box of supplies. Now, these box of supplies carry 50 supplies, and it would be enough to build a singular node, a number of defenses like barbed wire and barricades, and to build a whole garrison for the team to spawn in within a friendly zone. Obviously, when you're in an enemy zone, you need 100 supplies to build a garrison in red zone. That's just part of the punishment for it. Now, these have like a 3-minute cooldown or a 2.5-minute cooldown on a support player. Less if you're near a manpower node. It kind of reduces the cooldown for you. And you can drop these anywhere on the map. Anywhere on a map. It could be on a flank, middle of the field. I don't think you can drop them in buildings. I know Stalingrad has an exception for that. But this is your most accessible option for supplies. Now, if there are multiple of these dotted around from many other support players, there's the total number of supplies is shared in an area. You don't take it from the box. So if I was to place another one, you'll see that it will replace this. It replaces it. But if you have 3 separate players, all support roles drop supplies, then you'll have 150 supplies, which will be enough to build a great deal of things or a garrison in enemy territory. Now, the second one, which is commander-led, would be the supply airdrop. Now, this one is requires a little bit of planning and also requires resources, which is earned through building nodes. We will go through these in the next video. But these are called in by the commander in a designation either of his choosing or upon your requests. And typically these are flanking supply drops that are normally deep within the map or on wide flanks that you'll then go and do either a heavy defense or a heavy offensive garrison. Not to say that's the only use for them. If you're in a tight bind, you can drop these on HQs. If you know, for quick nodes generation, you can drop them on defensive or offensive, or defensive points primarily, for quick defense erection. Now, you'll see there's 2 here. Now, this is the allied one. This is what the ones for the Soviets and the US armies look like. Will always be this, and these carry 100 supplies each, so double the amount of what a regular player can drop. And I think these have a 5-minute cooldown for a commander. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to try and clarify that for you. This is what the Axis ones look like. Basically look like a giant missile. So part of knowing what's going on in the game is understanding what the enemy is also doing. So if you're on the allied side and you see this coming out of the sky, you know that enemies are dropping supplies in their area, which also then alters a strategy, or you know where to kind of push or attack to try and prevent them getting a garrison up. Same if you're an Axis and you see this dropping out of the sky, vice versa. Now, for the British players, if you were to chop this nose cone off and remove those fins, that's basically what the British supply drops look like. I will try and dig out a decent quality image and I'll insert it over here, or I'll try and get a snippet of a video and I'll overlay it. But otherwise, it looks really similar. So, but you'll to an Axis team supply drop, but it just doesn't look like a missile. It just looks like a tube, regular tube, and I think it's like a grey gun silver. So that's kind of it. That takes a bit more planning and isn't controlled by you, but is also super helpful. And bearing in mind, you can run this whilst you're running this. So loads of options. Now, the third option, which grants you loads of supplies at once and can be refreshed and reloaded, so you can actually do a supply chain, is the good old supply truck. Now, a supply truck will carry 2 crates, as you see here. Each crate will carry 150 supplies, and when dropped, they will. This is what they look like, and they are collisionable objects. So if you drop them in the middle of a road, your vehicles can't get round them and cause all kinds of headache. So please don't be them people. Now these can be replenished, as I said. So if you just hop into it just real quick. Da 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 da. Oh, I just turned the engine off. Da 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 da. And we're just gonna go and do a U-turn. Simply just by driving back to a HQ that has a resupply frame, it will resupply your crates and you can drive back out instantly. Now, the downside to this one is obviously you have to drive them. Recon players love truck drivers. You are their #1 target. You are a supply chain they do not want you to have. So, you will get shot out of them. You will get attacked. 9 times out of 10, they will succeed. However, the benefit outweighs the risk. You get your supply crates through. You will help your team tremendously. And again, supplies can be used to build a myriad of different things, all of which will be covered in this series of videos. But here's going to be the list of what the supplies can build you now. You can build you garrisons, defenses, AT guns, nodes, more importantly, is going to be nodes, and we're going to go into them in the next video. But here's what the supply frame looks like. One of these guys, and you can already see and hear that he's loaded 2 up, and away we go. Now I've got 2 crates on, and I can return out. It is as quick as that on a turnaround. So once you get into the 3rd row or beyond, you see it allows you to drop supplies. I don't need to stop driving. You can keep driving, and you can just drop them. So you don't necessarily need to then stop and get out. You can drop, hit and run, drop supplies strategically for a later date, and then go away and then be on your business and continue the supply runs. Now, supplies will not time out. They will not fizzle out. There's no decay on them. They will be there for as long as they're either used or destroyed by the enemy, which is something you've always got to bear in mind when placing supplies. So, support player, command, supply truck. These are your 3 ways to get it, and we need to bear this in mind, and we need to start utilizing it more. So, on to the next video where we're going to start covering nodes and the resource generation for the game, which will only allow your commander to be more effective. So until the next video, I'll catch you guys in a bit.